This won't be a sentimental video about Mario Galaxy. If you want to watch one of those, there's countless already uploaded to YouTube. Videos that are high quality, incredibly written, and perfectly edited. This may not be sentimental, but it'll likely have moments. Simply speaking, I can't discuss this game without being slightly nostalgic. Super Mario Galaxy released in 2007 for the Nintendo Wii. The Wii was Nintendo's most successful home console up until the Switch, and Mario Galaxy was one of the most acclaimed releases in the series. It would have been my generation's Mario. If it wasn't, the sequel certainly would have been. Even if it was the 3D Mario all of my friends played, I never did. I didn't have a Wii, or any Nintendo console until the 3DS. At some point, I'd get into playing older Nintendo games. But that would take a long time, and I never was able to find a copy of Mario Galaxy for a good price. The first time I played Super Mario Galaxy would have been in 2020, with the release of 3D All-Stars. I had heard so much about the game, seen all the praise, the Metacritic stats, and the influence of the title. An entire generation of YouTubers grew up on it and praised the game to no end. My friends when I was younger all played and loved it. I played Mario Galaxy back in 2020. I couldn't jive with the game. I had played it docked and used the motion controls. I didn't hate the experience, but generally speaking, I didn't get into any games in 2020 because of world events. So Galaxy was one I tried, and like the rest, couldn't enjoy. Then I played the game again every now and then, throughout the next 3 years. I would restart my playthrough in 2023 and make it 2/3 through the game. Now that I've been in between games for the last few weeks waiting on Xenoblade Chronicles X, I decided to pick the game up again, and finally make it to the ending, an action I'm glad I took. Mario as a character is one that means a lot to me. I've mentioned this in some other videos, but I had a sheltered childhood, so I couldn't play any games, including Mario for the longest time. The only way I heard about Mario was from external media and my friends, so when all of my friends put a claim on Super Mario Galaxy, I desperately wanted to play the title. Alas, I wouldn't be able to. I did, however, watch YouTubers play the game. YouTube was a new thing at the time, but I remember watching a complete playthrough at some point. I can picture myself watching an all cutscenes compilation, and the distinct moment when Mario knocks Dino Piranha's tail into himself for the final time before collecting the level's star. I was really interested in Super Mario Galaxy as a kid. It seemed incredible, both the first game and the second. The videos I'd watched of it looked breathtakingly stunning. I'd even collect little capsule keychains for the game from an old store. There was something about the game that pulled me in. Now, close to 18 years after the initial release, and who knows how long since everyone else praised it, I can finally say I played it, an action a younger me would have done anything to do. I don't know how to say this, but the younger me was right and wrong at the same time. I was both correct and incorrect. Super Mario Galaxy is a really great game, while also being heavily flawed in ways that have made the game feel significantly worse in the time since release. The game has aged flawlessly in some aspects, and horribly in others. I was hoping the game would be the best Mario title I'd ever played, and maybe altogether the entire package is, but deep down, because of certain aspects, it isn't. I feel wrong for feeling this way. This was meant to be Nintendo's masterpiece, Mario's final frontier. Yet to me, I can see multiple flaws. Flaws that likely wouldn't have been present if I played it 15 years ago. Mario games have a longevity, so a Mario game from my childhood could also be the one I played as an adult. And though I can, I wish I hadn't. I wish I played this game when I was still a kid. I would have loved it. I know I would have, because even with the perceived flaws, I currently adore it. There are multiple reasons why I love Super Mario Galaxy. Those reasons are the same reasons everyone else does. However, there are countless issues I had with the game that I've barely heard anyone talk about. There are 3 parts that made up Mario Galaxy that I loved. From the fantastically original level design, beautiful story, and unique structure. There are parts of these aspects that I didn't like. I may have enjoyed the gameplay, but it had a heavy amount of flaws. I loved the graphics, but the camera was terrible. I think the bosses are super fun and unique, while others are borderline unbearable. The story might be fun, but it's still a Mario game. That's why I'm mixed on the game, while also being a fan of it. Every great aspect to it has a somewhat smaller blemish beside it, something that would normally be tiny and unnoticeable. These don't ruin the game. On the contrary, they don't make it all too bad either. But the existence of so many small downsides to truly great game design does hurt the game, and, to me, damage my idea of what Mario Galaxy could have been. The level design is some of the best Nintendo has ever done. There is no cohesion to it because it's in space, and normally that wouldn't be a good thing, but here it's the highlight. So instead of a typical fire world and desert like in every Mario game before, you can have a bumblebee level, or magical platforms supported by the lack of gravity, a race in an ocean suspended in outer space against some whale-shark hybrid, and even a world directly recreating Mario's first adventure in 3D, alongside any number of others. All of these levels are some of the best Nintendo has ever made. Any level here outside of gimmick ones would be the highlight of a niche 3D platformer. Instead, they're just another amazing one in a slew of incredible ones. There are fire levels, ice levels, desert levels, but because they're set anywhere but Earth, Nintendo is able to be so imaginative with their level design. Any idea is possible in space, and the game does an incredible job reflecting that very philosophy. Unfortunately, I believe the levels, though amazing, are let down by Mario. You're let down by him in the sense that he doesn't feel good or especially fun to play as. Mario simply feels slow. He doesn't move very fast in most games, but in Super Mario Galaxy he's even slower. Mario can't turn on a dime, and every step feels like it's underwater. He has such a limited moveset compared to 64, Sunshine, and the future titles from the series too. Titles I played before Galaxy. Mario has barely any grip on anything, so he doesn't feel all too fun to play as. For some reason, much of the movement in the world feels like it's through quicksand, which lets these incredibly intricate levels down. All Mario can do is triple jump, spin, backflip, side jump, ground pound, and long jump. Most of these are used to get higher in a level and not move forward, which has almost always been the focus of Mario's movement. So moving vertically is fine, as everything here is in modern Mario games, as the only thing missing is a ground pound jump. When moving horizontally, you're out of options. There's only a slow walk, a moderately quick run, and a long jump. No dive, no roll, and nothing extra. The player has a decent control of Mario in space, but the lack of options or choices of how to get through these levels is immediately noticeable. Focus of 3D Mario has always been on the freedom to get through the game in your own original way. Unfortunately, that isn't always possible here. I don't remember how well Mario Odyssey held up in this regard. I don't want to go back to the game in case it hasn't held up. But compare this to 3D World, which is the ultimate test of Mario Galaxy era design, and it feels so much better to play. Movement is so tightly done, jumping feels great, and every missed jump would feel like your fault. The other issue with Mario's movement is with the underwater levels. Nobody likes these, but Galaxies just feel poorly designed. The camera barely works. While swimming, it just feels claustrophobic, and Mario swims so slowly and controls horribly underwater. You'll constantly be hitting something. Couple slow swimming and a small dive, and it makes these interesting levels feel the opposite of fun, and instead become something I'd dread as soon as they'd pop up. The problem here is the water levels aren't bad. The movement isn't either. If Mario has a shell, it's actually very fun and controls better than you'd expect. So why not make that the case all the time? It's just another example of where the highs of the game are impacted by a small blemish. To me, Mario Galaxy has often been a game of huge highs, with a slight low that takes away from the peaks. Take the graphics for example now. The Wii was a somewhat more powerful GameCube with motion controls, so since Nintendo had all this development knowledge of the hardware already, you can get a game early in the system's life that looked this good. Yet, it also has a jagged look in some cases. The HD remaster looks amazing, because it already looked amazing on the Wii. But the remaster did nothing to improve certain models that already looked poor. This was a game designed for CRT TVs, and not HD flat screens or a 720p handheld tablet screen, but it still looked good on both, except for specifically noticeable models. Now take the gameplay. I already went into detail about the level design and movement, but the platforming here isn't great either, as it relies on rather repetitive segments. Mario feels sluggish, so these instances are more annoying. Not only is there less freedom than past titles, less options than future ones, there is also an extreme lack of momentum. The story is enjoyable, and the storybook, while optional, is incredibly heartwarming. Really, the entire storyline is heartwarming. It's generally charming and fun. I like a lot of Super Mario Galaxy, but the way it has been praised for a decade and a half feels unjust to me. I'll praise it further, but this idea that it was a perfect game just feels wrong to me. But it feels wrong in the sense that Mario has moved forward since Galaxy into a broader horizon, and that horizon is better than what was before. I don't know if I would like Mario Odyssey as much if I played it again today, if it would hold up for my first two playthroughs. That's why I haven't gone back to it. I liked 3D Land, I don't want to play it for the same reason. Really, the only Mario game I can confidently call the best in the series is 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. In the sense, I played the main game twice, getting all the green stars on my second playthrough, although I didn't do the extra levels because they were too hard. I also beat Bowser's Fury 2 or 3 times, getting 100% completion on each playthrough. Mario Galaxy feels dated in more ways than one, in ways that other games in the series inspired by this design of Mario haven't. I don't know what I wanted from Galaxy. I guess I wanted it to be something that it was built up to be, and not what I expected it to be. What I expected it to be was a fun Mario adventure, which is what it was, and as a fun Mario adventure, it is a very good one, a better one than most, but most are also good. To me, Super Mario Galaxy is a game with high highs and infrequent lows, but the lowest moments took away from the best parts of the game. I do think the game has aged relatively finely, especially compared to Mario Sunshine, but unlike Sunshine where the movement of that game feels great today, Galaxy's greatness today is more so related to the levels and overall quality of the rest of the game. The game is still fun to play and well worth the time it takes to play, but I feel off about the game, and that to me is rather unfortunate. I just want to say thanks for watching now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry if this was a harsher look at Galaxy than the game deserved, and more of a critique than I wanted it to be. I like this game a lot, but my writing geared more negative than I wanted it to. If you want to like the video, or subscribe to my channel, it all helps. Please check out the videos on screen now, and thanks again.